Breaking news only on 2. We're seeing security video of the chase that happened moments before 2 deputies were shot. And here's a live look at the East L.A. scene from Sky 2 as the Sheriff's Department investigates late into the night.
One suspect is dead after that shootout.
And we're learning how those deputies are doing tonight. Our team coverage starts with CBS2's Jeff Nguyen live at Salazar Park with more of the video you won't see anywhere else. Jeff.
Pat and Jeff, that shootout happened right behind us at Salazar Park, where you see a number of detectives and deputies surrounding the suspect's car. Right now, the tactical portion of the investigation is over. That's because there was fear earlier that a suspect was missing. That is no longer the case, and tonight we have security video of what led up to what's being called a serious gunfight. Security video captured the slow-speed chase involving the black car followed by 2 black and white units. The BMW went around the corner, then doubled back and made its way onto Salazar Park, where L.A. County Sheriff's units followed. You can see dust getting kicked up. Then you can see Fernando Mercado coming out of his home.
I heard shots fired. I came outside, watched as a couple officers pulled out their guns and they were just shooting away. I say it was possibly more than 15 shots.
From our chopper, you can see a number of L.A. County Sheriff's deputies surrounding the black car after a deputy-involved shooting. This is the 3000 block of Whittier Boulevard in East L.A., but plenty of streets were closed during the investigation. The Sheriff's Department has confirmed one suspect is dead, but it's unclear how he was shot.
When I saw the police officers, the sheriffs with their guns drawn, I said, oh no, I didn't want my wife to go outside, and it was pretty crazy.
Our camera was above this ambulance as it carried off a second suspect who was injured during the shootout. That person and a third suspect were arrested. In addition, 2 deputies were injured in the gunfight. Both were shot in the upper torso. They were taken to County USC Medical Center by fellow deputies in their patrol cars. And this all started after someone called deputies to say that a suspect was pointing a gun at someone else about 7 blocks from the park, which led to that short pursuit and the shootout here at Salazar Park. Live in East L.A., Jeff Nguyen, CBS2 News.
Jeff, thank you. Our team coverage continues with CBS2's Rachel Kim. She is live at County USC Medical Center with an update on those injured deputies. Rachel?
Yeah, Jeff, Sheriff Jim McDonald was just here visiting with the 2 injured deputies and their families. The sheriff is very thankful their injuries are not life-threatening. Sheriff Jim McDonald arrives at L.A. County USC Medical Center to meet with the 2 deputies who were shot in what the sheriff calls a gunfight in East L.A. earlier tonight. We saw the deputies' family members arrive as well. They spoke with the sheriff, who later gave us an update.
We're very fortunate that they're in serious but stable condition. This could have ended up very differently tonight.
Meantime, outside the emergency room, yellow tape surrounded the black and whites that brought the injured deputies to the hospital. Sheriff McDonald says the deputies are in their early 30s. Each was shot once.
Both are seasoned deputies. Both have over 10 years on the job. I wouldn't want to go into the details on the injuries that they have, other than they were shot in the upper body. But they're in good hands tonight here at this hospital.
Not long after the injured deputies were brought to the hospital, an endless line of fellow deputies, police, and first responders arrived as well, all to show their support.
LAPD reached out right away and to see if they could be helpful. The way the situation played out, we're good at this point, but we certainly appreciate the thoughts and the prayers and the reach out that we've gotten from so many.
Again, the 2 deputies are in serious condition but stable. The sheriff says doctors will examine them and determine if they will need surgery. Reporting live tonight in Boyle Heights, Rachel Kim, CBS 2 News.
And stay with CBS 2 for the latest information on the deputies' conditions. We'll bring you any updates throughout this newscast.
A baby and father rescued from a burning apartment tonight in Lancaster. L.A. County Sheriff's deputies jumped in to save them, and they shared their story with our Tom Wade.
An apartment fire triggers a frantic scene. Firefighters worked to douse the flames as crews ran inside to make sure everyone was out and safe.
flames coming out windows, out of the roof.
L.A. County Sheriff's deputies Goldstein and Tanner were among the first to run inside the building in Lancaster off 16th Street West to check for anyone trapped. It wouldn't take them long to find a father and his 1-year-old baby still in their apartment. They kicked down the door when they didn't hear an answer from inside.
There's smoke building up. As soon as we opened the door, you could see a ton of smoke already starting to build up inside the house. Definitely surprised the dad. He didn't know we were coming in.
He was definitely just woke up. He was in a pretty deep sleep, I could tell.
The deputies grabbed Charlie and helped the dad out of the apartment. That's Deputy Goldstein with Charlie after he was safely out of the building. Tonight, the baby's father said he is so grateful for the actions of the deputies.
Smoke inhalation is nothing to joke about, you know. That's a silent killer, you know, and there was a lot of smoke in my apartment once they popped that hole in there, so.
As always, the deputies don't want to be called heroes. Saving a life is just another day at the office.
It's a team effort. It's not just one person. You know, we just happened to be the ones to knock on that door. It could have been any of us.
It was a good feeling. It was nice, and it was a good group effort.
The Williams family says their apartment was damaged but not destroyed. Still, they don't know when they'll be able to go back. Reporting from Lancaster, I'm Tom Waite, CBS 2 News.
More possible victims have come forward in that shocking case of Orange County Surgeon Grant Robichaux and his girlfriend Sarissa Riley. They're both accused of drugging and sexually assaulting women. Robichaux was once voted Bachelor of the Year by Orange Coast Magazine and was featured on a Bravo Network dating show. One woman tells us that she read articles on Robichaux before she agreed to go on a date with him.
He seemed like a great guy, according to what everybody else is saying. Why wasn't there an article saying, hey, there's some suspicious activity with this man?
Well, tonight we have learned that Sarissa Riley was married in 2011 but divorced last year. OC District Attorney says Robichaux and Riley recorded hundreds of cell phone videos of themselves having sex with intoxicated women.
An Army veteran is back home in Azusa tonight after he was deported to Mexico in 2010 after being convicted of depositing a bad check from an employer. Specialist Fabian Ribadeo served at Fort Bragg and in Kosovo. An immigration judge restored his green card after a state law changed and his charge was dropped to a misdemeanor.
I'm so happy to be back home. Now I gotta think, step by step, what am I gonna do? Of course, doing the right thing, I can go far,
Ribadeo says he plans to work as an advocate now for other veterans who have been deported.
A man seen attacking people with a machete is on the loose tonight, and police are searching for a suspect who slashed a security guard. A CBS 2 Inland Empire reporter Nicole Comstock is live right now in Victorville with a look at that suspect. Nicole?
That's right, Jeff, and police say the attack that was caught on camera inside this Food for Less here in Victorville is strikingly similar to 2 other recent machete attacks here in the city that have had a lot of people on edge for about a month now. Watch this guy strolling out of a grocery store during a robbery, casually pull a machete out of his shorts, wag it at a security guard, then reach back in and slice him on the hand. He and his buddies eventually ditch the shopping cart and run away. It happened at this Victorville Food for Less back in March, but police now believe this may be the same guy caught on camera 6 months later and 7 miles away, running up a woman's driveway, hacking into her arm with a machete, and making off with her purse.
It happened within the family.
Deandra Wood says the woman who was seriously injured in that attack is a family friend. Immediately after, her mom put her on a curfew.
Once it gets dark, we got to be home.
5 miles away and 5 days after this attack, a teenage girl was also slashed with a machete during another purse snatching on Traven Baker Street.
I can't lie, I've actually been more vigilant walking up and down the street.
He's one of many people who feel it in their gut.
Gotta be dude.
That police are dealing with one suspect who's become increasingly more violent.
He's got less fear as time goes on, if indeed this is the same person. So it's going to be very important for us to find him.
All the victims described the machete-wielding suspect as a tall guy in his teens or 20s with a very thin build. In 2 attacks, he was driving a dark car.
Nothing in the purse can be more important than my life.
And these ladies say they won't feel safe again until he's caught. Well, if you recognize the man with the machete or the 2 other people seen running away in that video, contact the Victorville Police Department. In Victorville tonight, Nicole Comstock, CBS 2 News.
A Girl Scout treasurer and cancer charity chief financial officer is accused of stealing nearly $100,000 from the nonprofits. Detectives say 52-year-old Patricia Caucione embezzled $58,000 from 2 Girl Scout troops in the Santa Clarita area. They also say she stole $30,000 from the Beverly Hills Cancer Center that was supposed to go to Girl Scouts.
A political standoff in the controversy over Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh.
It all centers around the Northern California professor who claimed Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her when they were teenagers. Christina Blasey Ford continues to demand that the FBI investigate her claim before she testifies in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. But the committee chairman, Senator Chuck Grassley, has refused that demand and has scheduled a hearing for Monday.
Only Kavanaugh and his accuser have been invited to testify.
Podcasting to catch a fugitive.
Yeah, the new police strategy ahead. Plus this.
But I was on hold for at least an hour, so I gave up.
A Downey woman reaches out to 2 on your side when getting her real ID becomes a real hassle.
And tonight, a change in the case of the so-called dine and dash dater.
We've got warmer temperatures on the way before the first day of fall gets here. Details for you coming up.
And here's a look at the guests tonight on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Already following CBS LA on Facebook? Follow these steps to make sure you continue to see our stories on your news feed. First, click on the triangle pointer in the top right corner of your Facebook page. Select News Feed Preferences. Then click Prioritize Who to See First and select CBS LA.